My name is April Lactonin Counselor, and some of the kids in Uzinki probably already know me because I sometimes teach the video conference lessons in the Alutiiq language. But I work at the Alutiiq Museum. I'm the Alutiiq language manager, and I'm learning Alutiiq from Nick. He's one of my teachers, as well as Florence Pesterkoff. But sometimes I'm also lucky enough to visit some of the other masters in our language program and learn from them as well. So all three of the elders that we have here today sharing their stories are part of the Alutiiq language program.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started, and there might be some other schools that join us, and Terry Schneider will be joining us here in a moment, but just so that people don't have to wait too long, we're going to have Nick Alokli tell his story, and then we'll move on to some of the other elders that are present. And Nick is sitting right here next to me. Nick Alokli is from the village of Akiak, and he grew up in Akiak and also in the Olga Bay Narrows, right? But during the earthquake and tidal wave, he was in the village of Old Harbor. So he's going to share his story about that, and then after he's done, we'll see if anybody has any questions before we do any other stories from the other elders. All right? All right, Nick.
Well, after my dad passed away, I moved to Old Harbor. I've been there since 52 to 64. And then after the tidal wave, I went to San Francisco, go to school. When that earthquake hit, I was in Willie Shugak's house. He was married to my aunt, Irene Shugak. And sitting there, looking out the window, and it got shaking. I ran outside. After I got outside, I seen Willie. They were playing pinochle or something in the pool hall. I seen him running over. He was staggering all over. And I seen the road just like a wave. And I just stood there. What am I going to do? I can't run no place. So after the quake stopped, I went to the room. I heard little Emma Christensen. He was a small boy. And he was running up. He said, "Tidal wave's coming." Well, I didn't believe him. I was filling up the fuel tank, 50-gallon drum. They used to last only 2 weeks. I was filling it. I went inside. I told my aunt, she said, "Tidal wave." And I told her, "Hello, teacher. Kangishinak tayo ko da kaniskat. Kita, bakod akalida." He said, "Let's go up then." You know, she believed it. And after that, I started to run up there, and I had to wait for my hand. It was slow. And after I got her up there, I went back down again. Mary Hawkinson, she was taking up her babies up. She had, I think, Ludita and what's her name? Phyllis and Leona. They were just, so I grabbed one of them and I brought them up the hill, and then I went down and get the other one because Swin Hawkinson, he was out getting wood. So Mary was by herself, so I helped her with her baby. And we're up to here all night. Good thing it was moonlight. It was real nice. And a tidal wave hit. The first one didn't do anything. Went back out. And the second one didn't do anything. I went ahead of my story. If it wasn't for Kaguyak warning us that tidal wave hit over there first, I think we could have lost some people. Kaguyak warned us first through radio transmitters, big transmitters. And Joe Malavida talked to Larry at there. That's what saved everybody. We had a chance to go up the hill. After everybody went up there, started bringing stuff up, to eat, sleeping bags and clothes, so it could keep warm. In the school, when we were watching, and the third wave came in, It wasn't really a wave, it was just a tide. Whole just went up to the lagoon, backwashed, and the third one down. I took out the whole village off. I was floating all over the bay. I remember the whole from Sitkalidak, there's a Sitkalidak Straits. It dried up completely. You could see that rocks in the middle of the street. Went out, and there was Larry Matway's house. He was floating out there. His lamp was still burning. And the table, I don't know how it didn't fall off. And you go back the third time when everything was destroyed anyway. And we could just, hear it shh, just so loud. And you could just boiling, I think. And another other one come up through the other little channel. But not as bad, it goes the other way. The one that did it was coming from the Guyak side. It destroyed everything. And next day, it was just quiet, just like so sad, just go down and look at the houses. So, a lot of them went to Kodiak on the crab boat. I went on a Chuyak. So it was all just standing and lying this way. Came in and we're traveling from Old Harbor. There's a roof floating around in a channel. There was a little dog floating on top. So we went and picked it up, and it was wild. We couldn't grab it. So we took a can of corned beef, we opened it up, and can't give it to him, just grabbed it, put it in. He came in with us, poor thing. After that, the storm came, and I guess the boat got destroyed on the storm. And the little dog was still in there. And after that, they flew us to Anchorage. We stayed in, I think, East Elementary. Akiak, you remember Akiak? I mean, not Akiak. Kakuyak and Old Harbor, they were all out there, sleeping up the floor. And then the Bureau of Indian Affairs guy came around looking, asking people, anybody want to go to school? So I took that. They gave me a choice to go to Cleveland or St. Louis, San Francisco. So I took San Francisco, that's where I went. And we went to Seattle. We stayed in Travel Lodge for orientation. I knew Seattle already. You know how to get around in a big city. I knew that. I went to school in Seattle too. For 1 month we were there, I stayed there, and we went different, everybody went different ways. I went to San Francisco. The only clothes I had was, remember, half a case of $8. It used to be that big. That's all the clothes I had. All the rest of my clothes were gone. And then they told me, Red Cross will help me out down in Seattle. When I went down there, that's all they gave me was $54 worth of clothes, that's all. 1 pair of pants and 1 jacket, that's all. I went to San Francisco. The guy asked me, where's your luggage? I said, come right here. That's about all.
Dennis Kanagan is originally from Afognak, and he was actually living in Kodiak at the time when the 1964 earthquake and tidal wave happened. So Dennis, how long have you lived in Kodiak?
I've been here since 1960.
1960, so he'd been living in Kodiak for about 4 years when the earthquake and tidal wave happened. So I'll go ahead and move this a little bit closer to Dennis. And Dennis, you can just say whatever you think of about your story.
Well, I'm Dennis Kanagan, and I was a fisherman. And fishing season was just getting over with. That was crab I'm talking about. And I put my gear away, and one of my buddies asked me to make a trip with him. To go pick up his gear and make the last trip. And of course, there was no seasons. Then there was just quit whenever you wanted, you know, when the crab got soft. And we took off, we went crab fishing. We loaded up and we almost got stuck in the ice. We were dragging for crab then, stuck in the ice, but we still had pots to pick up. And we probably would have been better off if we got stuck in the ice that time up in the north end of Kodiak. And the boat probably would still here. But we made it through. We were loaded, you know. Not a big load, it was a big load, but it was a little boat, you know. It wasn't one of them big dinosaurs like they have now. And we started in, we were playing cribbage on the way in, and the loser had to stand wheel watch. And I was lucky I didn't stand wheel watch all the way. So we got in here, delivered our crab, and I went home. And my wife was working at King Crab at that time. I was at home, and kids were home with a babysitter. Or no, one of them was pretty big. And it started shaking. And I went out the door and looked out toward the street, and I could see big waves. And there's an old man that owned a garage up above me, and he was running down. His name was Holman. He was running down to his house. He was my neighbor. And he kept stepping in them waves, falling down all the way to his house. And my son was on the porch laying, saying, "Man, this is lots of fun." And I could see my car bouncing back and forth over the other side, and I went down and picked up my wife, came back, and she says, "We gotta get stuff ready, we'll probably have to go up to higher ground." And I said, "Okay, well, I have no gas in the car." So I poured my kicker gas in there, which is mixed. And we started up the hill, and we got part way up and started missing and wouldn't run again, you know. And the guy had a bar down the road. It was an after hours place. His name was Legs Edie. They were behind us going up the hill. And when my car stopped, they just got behind me and pushed me right up. So I was in pretty good shape there. And we sat up on the hill there, and the wave came. And we could see all the boats and the canneries and a bunch of racket down there. You could hear the canneries floating away, rocks in the harbor rolling, and I seen one boat land on the breakwater. Then the wave went out and that boat dropped and sank. And the boat I was on took off with 4 other guys. Me and my cousin made that trip. And they were gone, they were missing. Last I heard of him, They were out by Spruce Cape, and the boat's name was Spruce Cape. He says all they could see is water, wall of water coming at them. And then we went home, or no, we went down the hill. We stayed at my brother-in-law's place. He was quite a ways up the hill. Stayed with him for a while, then we ended up in the gym in school. Everybody was at the gym from Quebec. So that's all I can think of right now, but else was there. Can't think of anything else.
Thank you for sharing.
Uh, Well, them guys all got lost in the
That was the end of Spruce Cape, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Right out in Spruce Cape.
yeah. Yeah, or the next day we me and my couple buddies went out and we started looking for the boat. And after we heard of him, seeing a wall of water, we went out to Spruce Cape with the boys. Beachcombers, they call this place, this night place. That got all washed away, all the lower place by the lake there got all washed away. And then the crafts and all that was all down, and there was boats on the streets down there. Big boats were up on the streets. And there was one boat loaded with king crab way up there by the jail. Up the road, he was full loaded with king crab. I don't remember all that boat's names. But I started working for Ed Gunderson, had the beach gang for king crab. So he asked me to go to work with him. So me and some of the other boys went to work for him. And he had me run a boat to Limit Center, Alfred Levine's big boat he had there. It was a big boat at that time. We were picking up sunken little boats, skiffs and little fishing boats, you know. That's about all I can remember.
Well, Dennis, could you tell me a little bit about what the rest of the world was thinking about the city of Kodiak? Because there's lots of rumors.
Oh yeah, everybody we had a daughter in Chimawa, I think it was, said that Kodiak was 15 feet under. That's all I remember.
So they thought that the whole town was wiped out.
Well, I've been working with Phyllis for a couple years now, and I've known her for many years. Phyllis Peterson is one of our master Alutiiq language teachers, originally from the village of Kaguyak. And last year when I was working with her, visiting with her with the rest of my language team, she shared with us a story about her experience during the tsunami and earthquake in Kaguyak, in a village that no longer exists because of the tidal wave. And I wondered if Phyllis might be able to share, perhaps even in Alutiiq, if she's up for that, the story that you shared with us when you were sitting at the table. And the older man that was there, he had a feeling that something was going to happen. Huh?
Mm-hmm. We was ready to have dinner then. I cooked deer, roast deer. We was set the table and everything got ready. And that old man, they call him Peter Shaw. He looked at me, Phyllis, what's Lisa? Yeah. What? Something's gonna happen. What? Told me now you chắc phải cô đặt tộc. Kaka. I feel it. His bottom is kind of rumbling. So we sit down and ready to sit down. There, old man say his prayers, and that's what we always do. Anything before we start. As soon as we sit down, there you go. We're just looking at each other, man. And that old man Pete told me stand up, open the door, and grab the kids. I got 13 kids. I got 8 live ones now. Grab the kids, go out there, stand out there. He knew right away we're going to have tsunami. That's what he said. He told us, you know. And my daddy was end of the village over there. And my husband was working in that church, cleaning up. And I keep my kids outside, tell them not to go nowhere. I was sweep the floor, sweep the floor, broken glasses. We were standing outside in that earthquake. My gas washing machine was friend of us. He was popping me in my leg and I couldn't feel it. As much it was. Watching my clothesline there, my baby's diaper, 2 lines was full with the diapers. 1 jerk of my clothesline was gone. Oh my. And my boy was in the lake with his friend. Our house wasn't far from the lake. They was trying to learn how to skate down there. So dinner was ready. I hollered at the boy, come on up and eat. We're gonna have dinner. The other one, he was just lucky enough to go up to the ground. As soon as he stepped up and there everything was gone. In that lake, ice was piling up the way it was shaking. We couldn't do nothing. My brother ran in. Vasilisa, yeah, get out of the house and grab Tsunami. He told me, and I didn't get scared or nothing. I went to the bedroom and looked out through the window and see the ocean out. Holy God. The water, we couldn't see it wasn't the wave. The water just going up like this. And I grabbed my kids, let's go. We go around the corner of my house. Then I hear that big noise. We go up to that little hill there. The skiff was right behind me. Oh my God. That's all I say. Oh my God. My husband's in church. Everything pulled up from the beach, what there was down there, all kinds of cabins, and right below us to the other lake. My husband had a big tractor. You know how the big tractors always here to clean the road. There was right by our house. And we went up there, it wasn't bother. We was up there. My dad told me, you guys stay quiet, you guys hear the noise out there. Just noisy out there. The house was, all the village was on, and 5 o'clock, I think that it was kind of getting dark. We couldn't see the waves or that wave came or not. There's our church from the end of the village right where we are. It landed right there. a Russian church. It was floating there. And the houses was on the village. 10 o'clock, I think, must be. And the waves went back out, took everything. Nothing left, just like this. Oh, see, we was in that little hole. Every one of us, my dad told me, guys, sit there and heat to heat there, body to heat there, cover us with little tent or canvas. One of them must have. And my brother Victor packed a old transmitter used to be used before, to Old Harbor, Akiak, and villages. And Larry called from Old Harbor, and my husband answered. Just enough to hold up Old Harbor, and the battery's dead. And Shuyak was back there, called Shuyak. My brother was lucky enough to go back to his other one that other guy couldn't. The skiff tip over. My brother was on top of the skiff, and the other guys, I don't know where, died to come, I think. Cinnafone Cedar's brother, Nick Cedar. We spent the night up in the hill. I don't know what time Shuya come around, and they called us and the transmitter from the hill. How are we gonna go down to Shuya? Got no water down there, all the junk are afloat. We try. We walk down to them. We was pushing each other for a long time. No, we couldn't move. You go first. No, you go first. You think about what happened. And Nick Cedar, I think he must have landed or somebody's house roof was where we're going down. The beach was stoned up, it was high as this. Couldn't see the way the wind took it. That Nick, I must have just passed it there. It was hanging on the roof. He just freeze to death there. The second group, and they found him. But 2 of them didn't. My sister's husband lost in there. Yeah. And we couldn't use the oar. The men have to push everything in that lifeboat. Man, it's scary. You don't see the water, all that junks. So we made it to Shuyak. Out little ways in Fern called Shuyak, I think we transferred from Shuyak to Fern, from Fern to transferred there, and from there we went to Old Harbor, pick up Old Harbor people. Talk about crying. My little girl was drinking bottle. How a guy had only 1 bottle for her. Frozen milk. Poor baby was crying. Then we transferred to Fern to Old Harbor. And we take half of them, I think. I don't know how many of them. from Old Tower we hit for Kodiak. We landed out in the bay still. Sometime in the morning, I think we got there. They tell us, you guys wait there, and we went down to the float. And as soon as we went down, now there's a captain up there. I think, wait, another tsunami's coming. Oh no! We were stuck in the float. We was just rolling in it. And that army truck came because we was out there. Some players in the barracks and they was there. I don't know how many days we was out there. 2, 3 days. And they tell us we'll transfer to Anchorage. And that big army plane too. Coming out the base to Anchorage. We came back from Anchorage. They didn't find us place where they'll put us where we could. They're having a meetings, you know. Who's gonna say yes, we could move over there or to there. I think Akeak Mayor say yes, we could go over there. From there I am in Akeak. I moved here 3 years ago after I had surgery in my knee. I had out of vessel knee and I got brace in my knee. Well, I'm still here. Now I'm planning to go. My sister keep calling me to go have recent Christmas with her in Kijahawik. Kijahawik is a good Roosie's toch had toch zeggen, alle kam doen. Roosie's toch als ik wat tegen
Net man.
Kijahawik man.
Oh.
Kijahawik richten. Kijahawik maar check waar Roosie's toch met jou. Dan spelen. I'll be anchored up in Anchorage with them who won't even move. That's all I have. Thanks invited me. I'll think of you guys in my holidays. Then it's put Christmas.
Chanika.
Chanikane. I say, take off, huh? Let's put me.
I'll say it now. I looked at
Kita.
Unu wishagut ingehemi. Dan skurman asiwa ta. Ashelok ahi shakhlani watchan. Start ha. Talaga tayo kanyo. Ay, akut jali chingulita. Keep warning us every time somebody says another one's coming, we run up the hill again.
Toen meegwak.
1944, I remember that. I think I was 9 years old. That's the time we had a strong earthquake too. Oh, it was just a kid. My grandpa was just about 80 years old then.
Toen ik een kuch tijdelijk.
Oh, we didn't nobody tell us there's tsunami. So the old people was just happy to the waves are coming. And they're just happy we're gonna go down there and pick some wood, drift the wood. They're close by to the houses, just pulling them, the water still coming, and we didn't know there was tsunami. Toen ik dacht dat ze all the Romans said they didn't worry about going up to the hill. I remember then. They're just pulling wood from there to by their house where they gonna show them. So wood, when the tide go out and they start showing wood, they didn't talk about what we're supposed to do, go up to the hill just trying to save some wood, what they couldn't save for burning. Now I find out how the tsunami was scary. Oh, I go ahead, you guys. Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to know how you got from Old Harbor to Kodiak after the tsunami.
On a crab boat. I came in on a shoe yak. Neil Von Seeley was skipper. They were crabbing down around the harbor. A lot of other people came in other crab boats. Because there was no plane.
How long was that?
Because the planes couldn't come around because there were the houses all over the bay, you can't line. So, only way we could come in was in crab boats. They were nice enough to take us up.
How long did it take you to get from Old Harbor to Kodiak? On the boat.
8 hours, 9 hours.
Oh, that must have been scary.
There was a lot of crab boats coming in from the south end, and a lot of boats floating out in the Chiniak Bay. And Herman von Chile was on one of them. And he said he'd go alongside these boats and drop their anchors. And Paul Bayou was another one coming in. He says, I got an airplane on tow. He says, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. He says, he had one of Bob Hall's airplanes on tow. I was listening to him on the radio. Had a little shortwave radio up in the hill. That's how I got a hold of Sut. That's what we call our skipper, Sut.
So you called him on the radio when he was on the boat going out?
No, I just listened to him. He was talking to somebody else.
How you guys got food and shelter?
Oh, you got food and shelter afterwards? Go ahead and mute.
We're out at the base. It was cold, there was no heat, no lights. That's when the next day they flew us up to Anchorage on a military plane from Fort Richard. I know the military plane, that's how I got to Anchorage.
Here in Kodiak, Legs cooked up a bunch of spaghetti for everybody at the gym. He used to have spaghetti dinners at that Beachcombers, you know. So he had a big pot of spaghetti. I don't know how many pots, but it was a lot of them.
Hi, Shemai. I know that Old Harbor and Kabuya both got evacuated to Kodiak and Anchorage, but Akia, how long did they have to stay in the hills, and what did they do for shelter? Do any of you know?
Do you know what they did for shelter in Akiak, or what happened with them?
Tidal wave didn't hit Akiak.
So they felt the earthquake, but they didn't have the
Yeah.
tidal wave at all.
There's goes that ocean out there.
Yeah. So did it hit Kaguyak first?
Yeah,
And then Kaguyak people called Old Harbor, right? And gave them warning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what saved it. But we had a lot of warning, you know.
Yeah.
at a time.
Did you think about the people, did you think that the water might have hit Akiak at all?
I don't know, the tide come up a little bit, I think.
Good,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, if it came from this side, it probably was kind of sheltered, you know.
Okay, it's got long shelter. But it's scary if they have tsunami from down that chain.
Yeah.
Everything will wash away. But 64 it came this way.
I think they said the tide just went up,
Mhm.
just like regular tide. Got higher.
Wasilisa, with that early earthquake in 44, you said?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So,
Was the quake really, was it really hard?
It was really hard, I think.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin was just hanging on by the door, but
I was in school in Fognak,
Yeah.
and they just shook the lights, you know.
But nobody really thought about a big tsunami?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent us all up the hill. We
Oh,
all
in-
went up the mountain.
In a Fognak?
Yeah.
The old people sent you
Yeah.
up there? Yeah.
So we did knock the October up the hill.
Yeah.
And this other one, this, in 64, my sister was going back home from Back Bay where they keep their boats. And tidal waves started coming, so she turned around, went back to the mill. And she says the water was right behind her as she was driving. She just drove up the hill and it stopped. She says she just made it.
Yeah.
yeah. We don't got no chance to grab one little thing when the water comes. Just trying to save your life, that's all. Got no choice. Must be the way we seen it.
Well, the next day I went down the beach below our house there and found a drum of gas. And I started to pump some out, you know, and they announced another one coming. So I had to just drop everything, go. And I guess one little one did come and took that gas out of there.
So much for getting your car filled up.
Yeah. Yeah. I just have to clean my spark plugs all the time till that oil was all gone.
Do you ever go back to Kukuyak? Is there anything left there? Can they ever go back and live?
No. I never go back to Kaguyak since 64. I always fly over it. That's all you could see, and where our house used to be, just 2 Christmas trees, that's it. Nothing else.
And why is it that people didn't move back to Kuguyak?
No shelter, I think, the way you seen it, it's too flat in there. The ocean here and the lake here and where our house used to be, they both come down. There is got no way to unless you
Good old
live
Kaguya.
around.
Same with the Fognak, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Back Bay.
So what about Little Fognak? Didn't people leave there because of the same reasons?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit before my time.
I heard that in a Fognak, was the well water bad after that? Is that one of the reasons people didn't go back?
I don't know. Maybe well water, some places bad. But they had good water. The side I lived, running, big creek running. Good water, real good water. It's all rocks, you know. But nobody had pipes hooked up to it, it was all running water, you had to run for it.
Too far to pack it maybe, huh?
No, we used to pack it.
Yeah.
How was the crab fishing after the tsunami? Did it have an effect on the fishery?
Big. It must have shook them right out of the ground, out of the bottom, because boy, there was some big seasons after that. I was on a boat, we had 1 million pounds 2 years in a row. The Olsons, you know. The canneries couldn't keep up. We had to run from here to Seldovia. Different places they had to run with a crab. There's a lot of floaters here and there. There's a big one in Jack Bay, the Mercury.
Did you lose everything?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I just, salt bottle fell off my shelf, that's all.
How about salmon fishing afterwards? Any difference?
You know, I was set netting then. And I had a set net site in Uganic Island. And I just built the cabin, good sized cabin there. And I thought, oh boy, that's all washed away, you know. We went back there. And it looked like it wasn't washed away from a distance, you know. And we got there in the dark. Vicky and Gloria were with us. And we started packing up stuff in the evening, and he says, "Dad, our house is gone." Must have been a big wind came and just blew it out of there. Found a roof way up on the mountain there.
There was a big storm afterwards, wasn't there?
Yeah. So I had a tent with me. Then we had a bonnie there. We put that up. We got there in the nighttime, you know. So I was able to spend the night, and I start beachcombing. And there's a lot of boards and stuff around then. There was houses and boards. just had to get them.
Yeah.
So I put it back up again. Took me 2 days, and I was back in the cabin again.
People were pretty resourceful, I would imagine. Beachcombing to find whatever they could, huh? Did it change any of the salmon streams? The earthquake and tidal wave?
I don't know. Could have in different places, I didn't notice.
No.
Not where I fished anyhow, except Carlick. The opening, I don't think the tidal wave did that though. The storms there.
Storms.
And had the openings move in the river there. See, there was a long spit, probably about a mile long. And then it'd open up in one spot.
Right.
Then it'd close up and open up in another spot.
We just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to be able to hear your stories. Kids, what do you have to say? Thank you. Have a good day.
Before the tidal wave, I was working down Alatac Cannery, crab. And then they had a fire. There was a Filipino bunkhouse, it was about 100 foot long. It's a 1-story building. I was there, and then in the morning I heard the bell ringing in the kitchen. I figured somebody was drunk playing around, you know. I looked out and somebody just keep going, fire, fire. I didn't pay attention. I laid back down, and in about 5 minutes I opened the door and the big smoke is coming. Only way I got out from the window, I left all my clothes, everything. I couldn't, the lights were out. I found a pair of shoes.
You walked out with a pair of shoes on?
So, and it took only 15 minutes to, that whole building was down the ground. We were blowing, gusting 80 northeast. There was 13 boats burned right by the bunkhouse.
Oh, that was in Alatac, yeah.
13 fishing boats burned. And we were down crab boat, neighborhood of Martin's, power barge. We were watching the boat blow up, the all gas. You could hear them boom. Sparks go clean across over.
That was those,
January 28, 1964.
that was, those, Italian boats, Dewdrop and ATEP and
Yeah. And we had so much crap. There was all big crap tanks. They were plumb full. I mean, there was so much crap them days. The tanks just go. I mean, we were working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. So much crap. We get one tank empty and fill it up again. Just never ending. And, even them small fishing boats, 30-footers, 38-footers, they come in one day to go out and pick plumb loaded, deck loaded with crab. Then we had to finish the tank, and then I finally got to go to Old Harbor. And then the earthquake hit. Boy, I was all shook up.
One catastrophe after another, huh?
in Uganic in 1946, I remember I was skiff man for one of the boats there. And the Lackanaw, remember the Lackanaw, the steamboat?
Yeah.
Picked up the fish from the canneries. He was in Uganic and sun was shining, really nice day. And I went down, I was talking to one of my friends down there in the boat. I was laying on top of the cabin, you know, and he was there running out the steering wheel. And I just got off the cabin and the cabin blew off. Just got off and he had gas in the bilge or something, you know. Just blew way up in the air. I would have been still flying.
Now, I know that none of you guys were around the last time we had a really big volcano, but do you remember your parents or grandparents telling any stories of when that happened in the Mount Katmai eruption?
I remember they said there was a lot of ashes here in Kodiak. All I can remember.
3 days of night,
Mm-hmm.
my granny told my dad.
And my great-grandmother came from Mount Katmai. They left their village when that happened.
Yeah, I heard that they brought a lot of people over to Afognak from Katmai and to different places on Kodiak,
Mm-hmm.
certain families.
Yeah, they were from there and probably Little Fognak. There was a lot of people in Fognak. I don't know why they moved to a place like that. All the reefs and, you know, I guess because on account of the clams and stuff, you know.
A lot of movement around the island because of things like earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes.
I think even most of the villages now, they might not have been in the same place because Old Harbor is Nunyak, which doesn't that mean it's the new place of the village? And same with Akiak. Wasn't Akiak across the bay before, or in a different spot?
Yeah, right across. They finally sold to her just now. I think they call it Kazukuk. The way I figured why they named it that, because there's islands all around in the surrounding. That's what they call Kazukuk. Kazuk. Blocking.
So maybe they
That's
moved there on purpose.
Therefore, there was a lot of food there. There was clams right down the village. Night time, whenever the tide go down, just go down and get cockle clams. There's food all over. That's why they moved it.
Was there a village in Seven Rivers?
No.
That's where there was food. A lot of humpies.
Camping area there.
Bears too.
Seven Rivers days too. I remember days too.
Beach sailing.
Beach game and beach sailing there. And they used to be a tender in Allentown they call boom boom.
A basket.
You could hear it a mile away, boom boom boom. There was so much fish there. They say they used to wait for the tender to come. They could hear it, coming out before it keep turning and they make a set and fill the boat plumb full. Every time they set the seine out, they set the seine out because there's so much fish there.
That's where Xenophon and Joe used to get all their fish.
Yeah.
Highliners.
Yeah. They'd fish a
Over
couple of
100,000
weeks and go berry
fish
picking
in-
for a couple of weeks and still get over 100,000.
There had to have been a lot of change that people were used to around here, not just because of the big events like what we talk about, but like you mentioned in Carluck, I mean, a storm could change a village drastically, like a tsunami or a one-time event like that, huh?
Oh yeah, it did that in the Fognac. Broke into the lakes,
Yeah.
washed the roads out many times.
Strong tides in Carluck.
And for that would be like, you could have strong tides for a couple weeks, huh?
Big tides, yeah.
Big tides.
10-foot
Usually about
tides,
3-4 days.
3-4 days.
So people were not afraid to go back in the water after that to go fishing, to get on the boats?
I did. I would never go back. See that water so fast going up.
No, when you're fishing, you don't think about it.
Yeah.
You wanna
Put it
go
out of your mind, huh?
Yeah, you want to go out and fish, regardless.
You respect it, you learn, you can, you see where it's safe and where it's not safe, and you just do what you gotta do.
Well, and even in a time of, where people must have been frightened by what might happen next, you hear of, like Phyllis talking about how they would go down and get all the wood that they could while it was there, because it was such an important resource that you do what you have to do.
And it sounds like your parents or the signs anyway, so you probably could maybe feel, you don't see the signs that a major wave is coming. Safe to go to the water.
I liked living in a village.
You do anything
thing-
you wanted to.
Only thing is we didn't have a high school, But I remember I used to be lived right by the school. You get out of school recess time, I'd go shoot a rabbit. Had a single shot 22. They'd come back and play the rest of the game, And then at noon I'd get another one.
Have enough for dinner by the time school ended, huh?
And after school I'd get 2 more. It took 4 to make dinner,
Yeah.
So we'd soak them out for the next day. Then we had that big lake there, and I'd go duck hunting there.
I remember the hard days. One time it was so cold, the whole bay, Nakiak froze. We couldn't go out and get wood. It was frozen, about 4 to 5 foot thick ice.
That's what happened to Fognick. All the boats froze in Back Bay. They couldn't row out. They walked out to their boats. Then one of the guys walked down Raspberry Straits.
Wow.
Jake Alpayak, remember him?
Yeah.
That's a big freeze.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was that same year that the channel froze out front here, 39 or something.
Was
Real
it?
cold,
Could have been.
real cold.
I always think about them old days, you know. I wouldn't trade it for nothing because I enjoyed it.
You know,
Because they
where we go have to
used to
dig
go
a
trapping. My
pond.
dad used to go trapping for foxes.
That whole bay would
Landowners,
freeze.
you know, that's how we made a living. It was tough, but we enjoyed what we did. Everybody respected each other and everybody helped each other. And my dad was a hunter. He used to go out and hunt, get some bear or whatever. He gave it the whole village food, you know. Didn't need no money. We didn't like it. We didn't think of material stuff. That's all we thought about was survival. And we're happy. I think we were happier them days than we are now.
It was simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go to hunting and load a skip up with ducks and give everybody duck. They'd be picking and canning.
Feathers everywhere.
Yeah.
We used to like it when it's blizzard, blowing 100 miles an hour and everything is frozen. And then we know that we're gonna get some mallards and go up the street where the water's running. We just make a place where we could watch for ducks, could hear them coming. You know, because we knew they'd come there because they need water. And you could hear them, you know, when they land, they stand up and shoot them.
So when the earthquake and tidal wave happened, there wasn't a question that you guys would be okay, huh? You pull together and help each other out?
Just trying to help each other, trying to save our lives.
What are some of the Alutiiq words for earthquake and like when the ground?
Ahulak.
Huh?
Ahulak.
Ahulak.
Ahulok.
Ahulok.
Yeah.
Ahulok.
Ahulok. That means it's shaking. So Nuna Ahulok.
No, ahulok.
That sounds like Olak.
Ahulak is like a Bigfoot.
Uh-huh. A runaway.
Runaway person.
So I wonder if it has anything to do with the land, like it's moving, running.
Ulachtok is running away.
Yeah.
Ulachtok. And Olok is, it's shaking.
Boy, in Kaguya, the ground was just going like this,
Yeah.
like a big wave.
I mean, that's a weird feeling. You have to experience yourself to really how weird it feels when your land is shaking. You know, there's no way, there's no place to run.
Over 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah. It was a long time. And you can't, when you're little, you can't stand.
Yeah.
It knocks you out on your, you keep falling.
Even if you were big, you were.
It didn't knock my dad off his feet.
And how many aftershocks were there about?
Every few minutes.
Even after they took us to Anchorage, we hitchhiked home to school. It took us 45 minutes to hitchhike to town. These boys, Matt Shelikoff, Zach, were stops off. Of course, you know where we went, we were in the bar. Went to this.
Straight to go party.
We got in there and it started shaking. You know, 4th Avenue, the whole part of Anchorage, Fourth Avenue is all collapsed. And that one bar didn't collapse and we went in there. It started shaking. Boy, did we run out.
Yeah.
Didn't wait for nothing.
Mom said it shook for a long time after. Lots of shocks.
Yeah.
Every few minutes.
Yeah.
I guess Herma was coming into Ugak Island, you know, the straits between Ugak Island and,
Oh,
he said it was all breakers. So he was going right up to it and taking pictures. And he did his lens and his camera.
huh.
His dad called him and told him to get out of there.
My dad was up in Anchorage and he said the word from Anchorage was that the island sunk.
Mhm.
They were pretty frightened to fly back over with the National Guard, and
Mhm.
all they said they started to see when they were up by a fog neck. They could start to see all where the tide would pull it all out, you know?
Mhm.
All the houses and barrels and overturned boats and the dirt. You could see all the dirt in the ocean. He said it was quite a sight.
Sonny said he went to a fog neck to check on his folks. He said he was shopping on the way.
More like pukuk.
There was stuff floating all over, just pick them up and throw 'em. Shirts and pants and jackets and, you know.
Gotta make use of that stuff, huh?
Gifts along the way.
That's right.
You know, all the fishermen used to head for the bars as soon as they came to town.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. But I was just gonna have one drink and go. And the guys start timbering and stuff, you know, they start buying everybody in the house. But I walked out and I was asking Sut, come here, let's get out of here, let's go and take a steam bath. He says, yeah, later on, he kept telling me. And I tried to take him home to have dinner with us too, and never did get him.
You lost a few buddies that day, huh?
Hmm?
You lost a few buddies that day.
Mhm. Jake and I, my cousin and I went with him. See, my boat was put away, we just got done, well, all my gear was put away.
Mhm.
And he needed somebody to go out there with him, so Jake and I went with him.
Juju nacht den Herr. Kinderpelikin.
I did.
Okkoikin napaamak.
That's Diamond
Willow?
Willow
Oh.
from Fairbanks. I had a diamond on the end, it fell off.
I just hope I never see one again in my lifetime.
You ever go out and take a look at that memorial, Dennis, out at Spruce Cape?
Mhm.
The memorial
Mhm.
plaque and stuff, huh?
I didn't even know there was one.
They got streets named after them boys now,
Mm-hmm.
3 of them.
A couple more yet to be built.
Sut Larson Street, and there's Eli Vasily, Harry Nielsen. Yeah. You got Albert Reft and Teddy Pan.
And, yeah.
Some of the boats left here, headed for a fog neck, but they left outside of Spruce Cape, you know. George Nomup said it took him a half an hour to get to a fog neck.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
What'd they do, ride the wave?
You must have.
But those guys went out further, huh?
Yeah.
In deeper water. Yeah,
You know, out like the ferry goes out that way.
yeah.
See,
Buoy
I guess
four.
Sut was in the inside of the rocks there.
Doggone it, he knew better too, huh?
Well, he didn't know what kind of wave was coming. He should have stayed in deeper though anyhow.
Yeah. A lot of the guys ran down to go get their boats, huh? Take them out.
Well, Fritzy DeVoe, he was passed out drunk in his boat. And he floated out, he was out to sea there, got up, woke up. And he started talking to the guys, what the heck happened?
Missed the whole thing. Huh?
Herbal, I guess, told him there was a tidal wave. He said, oh, yeah.
A waka.
Hawaii, suck.
He said my aunt's husband was walking on the breakwater, and next wave caught him and washed him off.
Oh.
He was lost.
What's he doing out there?
He must have got off the boat or something.
Oh.
He was walking up on the cannery side, you know, on that side there.
Mhm. Trying to get off a boat that had already hit the
Must have.
beach. Yeah.
Awaka.
Hawaii, suck.
O yan na.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hmm?
Thank you so much for sharing.
I look better on a Wednesday.